A lobster roll is one of the best summertime foods of all time, but lobster is very expensive and hard to cook properly. So today I'm gonna show you how to recreate the taste and texture of a New England style lobster roll without lobster. My recipe uses a shrimp that's widely available, but still pretty unknown to home cooks. It looks like lobster, it tastes like lobster, but this shrimp is much easier to cook and much cheaper. To get started, I got a nice large stock pot here. Are we not locked in? What's going on here? Let's try that again. To get started, I've got 3,000 grams of water weighed out here, and I'm gonna pour it into a deep stock pot. Then I'm gonna add in 120 grams of salt, 90 grams of sugar, and 2/2 of a whole lemon. And I'll just squeeze the juice in and then drop the lemons directly in the pot. Then I'm gonna bring the whole thing up to a simmer. And if you're wondering why I've been so prescriptive and exact about the amount of water, salt, and sugar here, it's just because I want you guys to have the best possible result, and I want your water to taste exactly like my water. Also, when I'm being specific about the volume of water, that means that your cook time is gonna match mine. If you started with less water, your shrimp would cook slower, and if you started with more water, your shrimp would probably cook a little bit faster. And once my water's up to a ripping simmer, it's time to talk about the shrimp. For this dish, I am using 600 grams of red Argentinian shrimp. I'm calling out these red shrimp specifically because, in my opinion, they're gonna give you a result that is much, much closer to a New England style lobster roll than any of the other standard issue farmed shrimps like white or black tiger. These are special because they are wild caught at very deep depths in the South Atlantic Ocean, and because of that, they have a really nice natural sweetness, and their texture is really, really tender. They are very similar to lobster tail, and when I say that to people, they think that I'm exaggerating or I'm being a little bit crazy, but until you've tried it, you really don't understand. Like, it's really, really close. And I honestly think that these are the better option for most home cooks over going to find lobsters. Lobsters are expensive, they're pretty hard to cook, and they're expensive. And you have to kill them yourself, because if you buy them dead, they're like neurotoxic or something. So red Argentinian shrimp for the win. You can get them at most grocery stores these days. Go for peeled and deveined, $21.25. From here, I'm gonna kill the heat on my boiling water, and then I'm gonna gently add in all of my shrimps. And that's gonna cool the water down from a high boil into more of poach territory, somewhere in like 190 to 200 F. And I'm doing this just because it cooks the shrimp more slowly and gently, which is gonna make them more tender. If you cook things aggressively with really high heat, that tends to squeeze out moisture, and it's just gonna make them a little bit tougher. So I'm gonna set a 3-minute timer. Then I'll jump in and just give these a quick stir to make sure they're evenly distributed. And if you can't find these red shrimp, I totally get it. I would say the next best thing would be a Gulf shrimp. That's also wild, and it's gonna have a pretty nice texture. Or if you can't find any of those, standard issue farmed white shrimp are gonna be totally fine, but your final result, instead of being a 10 of 10, is gonna be closer to like an 8.5. And after 3 minutes, I'm gonna come back and lift these shrimp out of the water. And I know they're done when they've curled into a C and not like an O. If they close all the way into an O, that's a good sign that they've squeezed out a lot of their moisture and they've really, really contracted to like well done. And that's not what you're looking for. Also, you could cut into one of these shrimp and see how translucent it is. It should be mostly opaque all the way through. These are gonna carry over cook a little bit. So if there's a tiny bit of translucency right in the middle, that's fine. If you cut into it and it's still super clear in the middle, obviously you wanna throw the shrimp back in for another 30 seconds. And if you're using a larger size like 1620 or 1215, you probably wanna add another 30 to 45 seconds to the total cook time. Oh man, these look really sick though, and they smell amazing. Very briny. Also, if you're wondering, this exact cooking liquid, shrimp size and type and cook time would make really, really good shrimp cocktail. That's actually originally what I developed this recipe for, and it just happens to work really well for shrimp rolls. From here, I need to cool these off quickly, so I'm gonna move them over to a fridge. I'm gonna let these hang out for about 20 minutes. This is gonna stop the cooking process in its tracks so the shrimps don't get overcooked, and it's just gonna make them cold so they're more enjoyable to eat. I definitely don't want warm shrimp in my mayonnaise. That sounds disgusting. Anyways, we're gonna check back in 20 minutes. While those shrimp cool off, I quickly wanna thank Trade Coffee for sponsoring this vid. I've been drinking coffee from Trade in some capacity for almost 4 years now, and I love this product because it tastes good, it is a good price, and the process of getting it is very easy. Trade works with over 55 of the top roasters from across the country, so the product that you're getting in the bag is not some boring grocery store coffee. It's interesting, it's delicious, and it's matched match to your tastes, because when you sign up for a trade subscription, they give you a little quiz to determine exactly what type of coffee you like. Then they choose from their selection of over 500 coffees to send you stuff that they know you're gonna love. I love this entire setup, not only because it ensures that I get to drink delicious coffee every morning, but also because it allows me to try a lot of different stuff. So my morning coffee ritual continues to feel like a treat. Whoa. Ooh, and last summer, Trade sent me one of their cold brew kits, so I've been experimenting with making that. And let me just say, especially when you pair it with beans that have been specifically roasted for cold brew, this stuff is so much better than the pre-brewed grocery store cold brew, and it is at least as good as the third wave coffee stuff that you're gonna spend $7 or $8 a cup for. Every bag of Trade coffee, whether it's destined to be served hot or refreshingly cold on ice, is roasted to order and shipped directly to your door. And if you don't like your first bag, Trade will replace it for free. Right now, Trade is offering up to 30% off new subscriptions over at drinktrade.com/Brian. That's drinktrade.com/Brian to get up to 30% off your new coffee subscription. This is a really good product. I drink it basically every day, and I think you should try it. Thank you, Trade. 20 minutes later, I've got some chili shrimp that are ready to be chopped up. So for that, we're cutting them into like peanut M&M sizes. Don't go too small here because, in my opinion, a lobster roll, or in this case a shrimp roll, is all about large, plump, sweet pieces of shellfish where you get the full texture. I tried a few variations of this salad where I cut them a little bit smaller. I even tried chopping half of them down to mix it up into more of a shrimp salad type texture. And that was really, really good, but it wasn't shrimp roll or lobster roll-esque. It tasted more like chicken salad and it had kind of a pastiness to it. That would be really good if you were gonna put it onto a bun, but when you're eating it in a roll like this, it just doesn't really seem to work out. So you wanna go for large peanut M&M sizes, maybe about a ½ inch or so. Once the shrimp are chopped up, I'm gonna slide them into a medium bowl. Then I'm gonna jump into the bowl with a little paper towel here and agitate the shrimp a bit, just to try and get any last bits of surface moisture absorbed. Any water that's sitting on the shrimp here is gonna go directly into the mayonnaise dressing, and it's gonna make the salad eat kind of wet and sloppy, and that's not gonna be nice. Okay, we got some dry ass shrimp. So now I'm gonna add in 120 grams of mayonnaise. As always, I think Duke's mayo is the best off-the-shelf mayo. Then I'll add in 3 grams of salt, and I've got 20 grams of minced chives here, and I'm gonna add in about 15 grams or so. I'll save the rest for throwing on top. Next, I've got 1 whole lemon here, and I'm just gonna rip off the zest with my microplane. If you don't have a rasp grater like a microplane, you could use a box grater. Just be careful not to dig too deep into the lemon because you'll go past the zest and into the pith, which is pretty bitter. There we go. Next, I'm just gonna chop this lemon now, and I'm gonna add in 15 grams worth of juice. You could go a little bit more if you like things a little bit zippier, but that's gonna equal about 1/4 of a lemon in total. And then from here, I'm just gonna jump in and very gently stir to get everything evenly combined. We lost a shrimp. Ooh, man. The texture on these Argentinian red shrimp is sickeningly good. It's an S tier shrimp, and honestly, it makes all other shrimp appear B tier in comparison. And this is a really simple recipe. It's basically just mayonnaise, lemon, and salt, and a little bit of that chive flavor. And there's not much to it other than that. It's just seasoning up the delicious, beautiful shrimp. That's kind of the essence of a lobster roll too. You've got a really, really wonderful natural ingredient, and you're kind of just emphasizing that beauty instead of doing something to it that changes it into something else. Now I'm just gonna jump in and give this a quick taste, mainly to make sure that the salt and lemon levels are dialed in. Okay. Very plump, very sweet, a little bit juicy, a little bit flaky. And everything that's in the bowl seasoning-wise is just there to serve the shrimp. Nothing is stepping on it. It's beautifully unified. And it's this minimalist seafood shellfish experience. It's really, really nice. And it reminds me of being on the East Coast, honestly. Ooh, that's good. And if you're wondering if you could make this lobster, I almost just said lobster. It's not. It reminds me of lobster though because it's red and it has a very similar texture, but it's shrimp, guys. It's frickin' shrimp. If you're wondering if you could make this ahead of time, I wouldn't, because the whole thing revolves around it being very fresh and vibrant and in the moment. If you were to dress this, especially because there's salt and lemon being added, it's gonna kind of cook the shrimp a little bit. It's gonna draw out some moisture. It's gonna get weepy, and it's gonna lose that beautiful a la minute texture. So I would not do that. I would make it to order. Now to make this shrimp into a shrimp roll, I need a roll. For that, I'm gonna grab some brioche style hot dog buns. I got these particular hot dog buns from Aldi. They're really, really squishy, they're really, really sweet, and most importantly, they are top split. That just means that instead of being cut through the side like most hot dog buns, these are actually cut through the middle, tip to tip, so you can spread them open like this, and that means that they just hold these large morsels of shrimp a lot better than a side cut hot dog bun. And these are just really, really delicious. You can get them at a lot of other grocery stores, but for some reason the ones at Aldi taste the best. Any good seafood roll starts with a toasted bun, so I'm gonna add a little bit of oil into my pan here. Then I'm gonna split open the split top and put it in cut side down and swirl it around in the fat to get it evenly coated. And then I'm gonna toast it very, very gently for, let's call it 90 seconds or so, or however long it takes to get this bun nice and golden brown. Oop, it'd be helpful if the pan was on, bro. And by the way, if you really wanna do this homemade and you wanna make your own lobster rolls from scratch, I actually have a pretty good recipe for them that I did about 3 years ago, which I'll link down in the description. It's pretty labor intensive, but the results are very good and trump what you can get bought at the store. I designed this shrimp version of the recipe though to be as quick and easy as possible, so you could throw it together on a hot summer night when you've got friends coming over and you want something refreshing and fun to eat while you're sipping champagne. And after 90 seconds or so, we've got really even browning from tip to tip, so it's time to build this thing. First things first, I'm gonna slather on a little bit of mayo here, just so we got a little bit of glue to hold the dressed shrimps in place. Classic sandwich glue situation. Without this, they just tend to fall out of the bun a little bit easier. Then I'm just gonna stack in maybe about 3 ounces of my finished shrimp salad here. You don't wanna go too full, just because then the ratio of shrimp to bun gets out of whack, and if you put too many in, the shrimp start falling out and it becomes kind of hard to eat. And then to gild the lily, I'm just gonna add a couple cracks of fresh pepper. Don't go too hard here though, because that pepper can overpower the shrimp pretty easily. And then just a little bit more chives on top for some pretty. I feel like I want a couple more shrimps in here. It's always a dance. It looks like it can take more, but then if you add too many in, they overflow. But I want a lot of shrimp. Also, if you want another topping idea, I would say Old Bay would be kind of fun and creative. You gotta be careful with that, just like the pepper though, that can overpower things. And then I'm just gonna squeeze it together so that it's nice and cohesive and all the shrimp are tucked into the bun. Look at that, dude. Ooh, man. This is an exciting little bite of food. Let's go. I honestly thought the shrimp by themselves were S tier, delicious, as good as it could get, but when you combine it with a toasty, sweet, hot roll, it just completes it. It's like the peanut butter to the shrimp's jelly. It's honestly so freaking good. So freaking good. And then the shrimp are just so sweet, they're so plump, and they are extremely lobster-like. And a really small detail about this salad that I love, that I just think would go unnoticed by a lot of people, is that since we dried the shrimp off so well, the mayo clings to it in a really pleasant way, and it's not watery or loose or soupy. And that just means that it's much more refined. In my mind, this recipe is just perfect for the summertime when I dropped a shrimp. It's perfect for when it's warm outside and you want to have some friends over, but you don't want to put in a lot of work, but you also want to offer them something elevated and elegant, something that's kind of a showstopper. This is it. If you guys want to make this, I will throw the whole recipe down in the description, along with a link to my blog, brianlagerstrom.com, where I will have a much longer, more comprehensive version for you. As always, guys, thank you so much for your time and attention. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video, and I'll see you next time.